was talking about, she wasn't saying that the impact of the car destroyed her kidneys. Just getting in a car accident at all made her go to the hospital. And then serendipitously, they discovered your kidneys are done. Like they looked at her eyes and other like you're gonna die soon. And she said so. I've got days to live, kidney failure, and it's like no one believed her because they're all like the car accident wasn't bad. Like it wasn't from the car accident. It was from years of self-medicating that her kidneys were gonna fail. And still her kids wouldn't come to see her, which is sad, man. It's messed up after everything she went through. And she was on this like ranch in north of Perth, it's middle of nowhere in Australia. And she put up to somebody that I used to know. It's an Australian singer, forget the name, but it's a breakup song on her Instagram. And then she put up a post. It was just a black nothing with a broken heart emoji. And that's the night she died. And I fully understand people were like, I bet they killed her. Da, da, da. There was really no reason for that risk. Like she said what she said, and she went through her lawsuits and was done. It'd be stupid to risk murdering her. She had an empty bottle of painkillers next to her because she got something from the accident. She decided, I don't care. She took them all. I talked to the paramedics and things. She killed herself. But in a way, you could argue they drove her to it because they had a vested interest to make her life hell after she got Maxwell and Epstein arrested. A lot of it was because of her. And then, Prince Andrew has to pay out the millions, and she named other names, and those people, their reputations were dead. They're shot, So a lot of people hated her. And I wouldn't doubt it at all if they interfered with her marriage and anything else they could do to mess up her life. I wouldn't doubt that one bit. And so in a way, they killed her. But she did take her own life, unfortunately.
Next question is from Versace Boy. And what did Bongino mean when he said he's seen things that have shocked him to the core and he will never be the same?
Probably some of the recordings Epstein did on his own properties of himself abusing kids. I mean, he took, I don't even know if I can say it. He used objects in exits. Yeah. Something Lindsey Graham would do. Just imagine that. That's what he did.
Who has the most power with the elites, Trump or the Clintons?
Right now, Trump, because he's president. But in general, the Clintons.
Yeah.
When you say the elites, what do you mean? Like
the globalists, the deep state?
I hate that word because they're not superior. Elite means superior. You mean elitists. They think of themselves like that. There's nothing superior about printing money. Just any crook can do it. The donor class has a lot of power. So when we talk about AIPAC, they run Congress, they run the show, but the only thing above AIPAC is where do you think they get their money? They get it from a couple dozen billionaires. That's the mega group, the mega donors. That's the Wexner, Steinhardt, Bronfman cabal. That's where the power is. But even they take direction from the Israeli government. Because ultimately, you know what the ultimate power is? You know what's more powerful than money? Force. And they have it.
All right, next question is, how come Biden didn't use the files about Trump being on the list to undermine the election?
Same thing. It's like mutual destruction because they did try to spread those rumors and things, but they don't have a list, first off. But a lot of this Biden's donors and things don't want anyone talking about Epstein at all because it's a matter of time before they're next. And Trump would tell on everybody. Like if they ever said that, then he was like, oh yeah? Like he sort of started doing to Larry Summers and Clinton. He'll just start naming them too. So it's kind of like mutually assured destruction. You can't do it. And that's why people are like, maybe Trump's not on the list because they would have used it if he was on it. Yeah, or they can't use it because he would use it. But look, man, they tried to put him in jail. They tried to impeach him twice. They tried to blow his head off. he was friends with Epstein, but not Trump is not uh, messing with children. But he definitely had to have known about it and didn't act on it. But there was, David Wolf believes that Epstein thought that Trump was the one who told on him. That Trump went to the police in 2004, and that's what started the investigation that ultimately got him arrested in 2007. And that's someone you can't ignore. When these girls tell their parents and their parents tell the cops, they don't care. But when a billionaire like Trump says it, you can't make that go away. And Epstein, when they had this fallout over the Abe Gosman property, Wexner dispute at Mar-a-Lago, he thought that Trump had turned on him. But I don't know about David Wolf's truthfulness because he does a lot of stuttering and blinking, and who knows? Sounds good. I'm just saying what he said, but I don't think so.
Yeah, we've reached out to him. We're trying to get him on. So JD wants to know, what about Bill Gates and Epstein? What's your thoughts on those two?
Bill Gates had an affair with one of his employees back in the year 2000. Of age, but not by much. But the biggest clue, aside from like the email I mentioned earlier when he had dinner with the Dubins and Epstein, it's not like Bill Gates needs advice on raising money or whatever for his vaccine campaign or Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He can have professionals do that. He doesn't need Epstein, but he's meeting with Epstein physically. And there's really only one reason to do that. But the biggest tell is his wife citing why she divorced him was over his Epstein relationship. Now, she didn't come out and say exactly what that was, but I don't think it was from the financial advice. So what else could it be? And he's such an easy target. He was the richest man in the world at one point. He's an absolute nerd with no mojo. And he's just ripe for bait. He's got money. He has no swag. And that is an easy target for a honey trap.
Beloved wants to know if you're still getting harassed for covering these stories.
Yes, of course. Get rumors spread about me, harassment, kept throwing off all the payment processors. I'm banned on everything but X. So. It doesn't matter, man. They're R-wording kids. There's nothing lower, besides murdering them, and they're doing that too.
Do you think we will ever know the whole truth and nothing but the truth regarding the Epstein files?
No, but not the whole thing. But I think if I could get people to know half of what I know, it would be enough. Like, it's disgusting. And the information's out there. Like, a list can be compiled if you want a list. I mean, I got one on my wall back there. It's kind of dark, but if you listen to the victims' statements and you listen to their own staff, it doesn't even have to be Epstein's staff. Like, what is his name? Ronald Rizzo. He was a chef for Glenn Dubin. And he saw Maxwell and Ava Dubin. They could hear the like clickety-clackety high heels coming down the hall. This 15-year-old Swedish girl was shaking like a leaf, like fear, like physically. She couldn't barely speak. And he's like, what's wrong, And they're like, she's working for us tonight. So that's an adult. Like, this is not an abuse victim. This is someone, a staffer that worked for Dubin, saying this. And it corroborates what, say, Virginia said about the Dubins. She was forced to massage Ava while she was pregnant and then sleep with her husband and just disgusting stuff in a hotel. It's like not a super famous name like Bill Gates or Bill Clinton. These are just boring hedge fund manager, banker nerds. Why would she know him at all? And this is testimony from way back when. This isn't after 2019 when the story broke. So that's how you can go through and you can read transcripts and things. You can read the lawsuits from Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, US Virgin Islands, where do you want to guess how the total is? I just added it up the other day and I just forgot one and I added it today. $957.8 million in payouts. Yeah. The biggest chunk was 290 from JP Morgan to class action to victims, 150 from Deutsche Bank to victims. Then you had 75 from both to the Virgin Islands, 62 from Leon Black, 16 from Prince Andrew. Then you have the forced sale of all his properties. And it ends up close to $1 billion. And there's another 26.5 million, no, 26.25 million in from U.S. shareholders to Deutsche Bank, but it's over red flags that it's Epstein, but it was also some Russian oligarchs and other figures. So it's not purely Epstein. So I didn't even count that. But some portion of that ought to also be added to the 957. So you could say 957.8 plus million dollars in payouts to all these victims. They're like, oh no, it was all Epstein. They trafficked them all to him. 400 victims. 400 victims. That's a lot of Jane Does.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Look, man, we're almost at an hour, and I don't want to overexert you with your eyes recovering. There's still tons of questions, but how are you feeling at this point?
I'm all right. I'll throw on the shades if I need it.
So do you want to do a few more questions then?
Yeah, let's at least round out the hour, yeah.
All right, so Manu Man wants to know how many Epsteins are out there?
It's disgusting. Like I think I said at the beginning of the show, look at Nygaard, billionaire, are doing diaper parties in the Bahamas. Robert Miller of Quebec, he used to give the girls a hockey bag full of goodies and do threesomes in his. He had an F tub custom built in one of his hotels, so he could. Yeah, he's a billionaire. Mike Jeffries from Abercrombie did it was to men, but another one. They were young. They weren't underage in the countries that he did it. But dude, whatever. And like I said, he had 16 counts of human trafficking and 15 for interstate prostitution. And he had cases in Spain, France, the United States. Like this is all over the place. So it makes you wonder who's the next billionaire that's doing this that we don't know about. And it's not for blackmail. Like it's just the culture of how they are, which makes it so easy to rope them in because a lot of them already act like this. I know some potentials. I'm digging evidence on them right now, and it looks like, there's a couple more that are about to fall. And it's so disgusting. Like, why are you like this? And why are so many? There's people in Congress right now. There's a woman from Illinois that is caught red-handed 100% with sexual blackmail from both Turkey and Israel. And the media doesn't say anything about it. And the FBI knows about it. And she's married to a criminal too, a convicted criminal. It doesn't matter. So yeah, it's a great question. It's like how many more of them are there? I mean, there aren't that many billionaires, but of the few, look at all the ones I just rattled off that already got caught, that already went to prison. That's what I can't stress enough. This is just how these people are. They're disgusting. And it's the same thing. These billionaires in the Middle East and other places in Asia, when they all do this stuff. Dubai has human toilet tours.
Gail wants to know, why is Israel so powerful over the U.S. government?
Because of bribery. They have an unregistered lobby that just pays off the lawmakers. And because of the Christian evangelical wing inside the United States. I mean, they call themselves Christian, but whatever. Like, they're just Israel worshipers.
All right, so you got a super chat here. I know many PDFs in fashion and can't wait to expose them. They are everywhere, unfortunately. Many normies that sympathize with the PDFs. I know they're trying to normalize it, aren't they, by calling them minor attracted people. You've got a question here as well. What kind of a sentence do you think Diddy will get?
Oh, he's going to get smacked in the civil suits because Lil Rod has receipts. I've seen him. Like I never thought the case with Cassie, I was like, whatever. Like, She was part of it. There's emails from her looking forward to the next freak off. He did beat the crap out of her, and he had to pay millions of dollars for that, and he had to pay the hotel millions of dollars. So he already had been punished there. But when it comes to Rodney Jones, that's where Diddy's cooked. And this is where, when everyone's talking about white parties and this and that person and all that, that's all this. This is that case. What they limited to, it was weird in his previous trial where he got acquitted. Even though they're admitting to illegal narcotics and prostitution, that's not what he was on trial for. So I'm like, but you're incriminating yourself by admitting. Well, they call them escorts, so maybe it's not prostitution, but yes, it is.
Aaron wants to
Robert
know,
Kraft's another one. He fiddled around with escorts. That's another billionaire that was essaying women, and he worked for Global Apollo. He's on the board with Leon Black. Huh. Leon Black used to ship models to Epstein, and then he act like, I didn't know what he was doing. Impossible.
Aaron wants to know your thoughts on Palantir and whether they are keeping Trump from exposing the Epstein truth.
I don't think that's what's is keeping him from. I mean, Palantir sucks. Like, they use that to murder Palestinians. They use those things, but it's the Israel lobby. Like, Trump does whatever they command. When the day Netanyahu comes to America, the next day, they're like, what list? What desk? What are you talking about? Who's Epstein? Like, who is that? Click. And, they promised, we're going to release the files. It's on my desk. Here it comes. And then Netanyahu comes, says, get rid of it. And all of them, every single one of them, from, Patel, Bondi, Bonangino, they're all like, well, actually, and they release this stupid tape. Let me tell you how dumb this tape is. Everyone's over-focused on the missing minute, and it doesn't matter. Let me just explain why. You can all Google this or whatever. You index it. They found Epstein at 6:33 in the morning. What all happened at 11:59 is irrelevant because that wasn't the time of the murder, and the tape ends before his body was found. And here's the other part, the glaring hole in that story of how stupid it is to film Door 46. Every single cell in the shoe has 2 cameras in the cell. Were they not working? And here's the third part. Those cameras that are in his room in the shoe, were they not working when he got beat up or attempted suicide? Because you get 2 conflicting stories. Where is that footage? Oh, it's missing. Well, how come you don't have camera footage from inside Epstein's cell when he supposedly tried to kill himself once, and you're not watching him while he's in the cell? You don't even have recordings of that? This is one of the most high-profile guys. I think the floor above him is like the 9/11 people, whatever. But the next, the highest level guy, and you're not filming his cell. Bull crap. They needed him dead. The day I think it was a Sunday, he died on like Monday morning, whatever. He signed it's called the 1953 Trust, probably after the year he's born. So he moved his money. And once they had his money, he's nothing but a liability. He's completely useless. Even if he gets out from some plea bargain, flips on, he can never go back to doing what he was doing. He's got too much heat, too many eyes on him. He's totally expendable after he signed off his money. And it was hours. It was like that night. Like, he signed a 1953 trust, and he was dead the next morning. And it's like, oh, the cameras didn't work. And I'm saying, why are you showing us the camera footage of his door from the night before? I want to see the camera footage from inside the cell of the morning he was actually killed. Or at least show the door the morning he was killed so you can see someone go in and out of there. No. And they hoodwink the public because the public doesn't go back and look and know that he's murdered at like 5 a.m. or whatever, because they find him at 6:33. So the tape that goes to like 4 a.m, whatever it was, it doesn't matter. It stops, I think, at 6. So you have another half hour or so for someone to go in the door, choke him out, break a bone in his neck. I mean, even his own brother didn't believe it. And it's like, okay, if he didn't kill himself and he was murdered, then not only do you believe that he was murdered, but you have to believe that they covered it up. And Mark Epstein's like, yeah, the pathologist, all he can say is physically, this looks like murder. As far as the other stuff of how they got someone in to murder him and get out and all that, like, then you have a conspiracy. Because you can't just waltz into a jail and murder somebody and waltz out. Either it's someone who's already in the jail, like his roommate, or it's a professional that you allowed in and you allowed to leave. And you have to get rid of the cameras in the cell to do that. Now, each cell has 2 of them. There's just, it's the dog ate it level stupid excuse to say both cameras in the cell didn't work. The guards were asleep, I can believe, because they probably just do that all the time. But and them not doing rounds with the flashlight every half hour, I believe that too. But the cameras, after he had a supposed attempted suicide and just got off suicide watch, and you're not looking at that. And the warden just kind of quietly retired, got replaced. I mean, there must have been some kind of shame or something. Like, this guy, Maxwell's the only one left. And she's really not privy to anything he did after 2008, not much. She knows a lot. She's the only one they can put the squeeze on that can really get into his operation. And, you know, this is what's exciting about the 11th. I'll say right now, Maxwell didn't kill herself because she's going to have a heart attack or something. If she does she's got to really balance herself. She needs to get up enough names for clemency, but not too many names of anybody that's going to be in power for a while that isn't in their 80s or whatever, because that's they're going to say she made it up because she's just trying to get out of jail and whatever, and she'll end up dead.
What do you think about the increasing amount of people who think Epstein is alive and perhaps in Israel?
That's what I call the loose changing of an issue. He is not alive. He is of absolutely no use to them, being arrested twice. He cannot go back to operations. He can't liaison with anyone. He can't meet with anyone, especially if you're pretending to be dead. Israel would be the place he would go, but they don't owe him anything. They don't care about him. And plus, he had 2 autopsies on his corpse, one which included his brother. So he'd have to have his brother's faking it, and they had a rubber doll or whatever. It's harder to sneak him out of prison and have some dead body double or something, whatever they think. Like, that's more hard than just killing him. But what they're doing, and I've seen this sorted effort with a lot of Epstein's victims too, is the QAnon, Alex Jones types keep pushing, frankly, retarded scenarios, trying to get you to bite. And what they've done to some of these victims is they browbeat them to death. They're like, well, wasn't this, isn't it? Until they go, yeah, I saw that. And it's like, boom, gotcha. You've got some of them saying, I saw him turn into a lizard. Well, like, no, you didn't. But if they realize they can get a lot of attention online if they would just lean into it. And so they'll say this crap. And it's on purpose because it undermines any true thing they may have said. They've lost all credibility. And you saw that with people like Sarah Ramsden, who had to change her testimony. Like, oh, I saw it. No, I didn't. Don't do that. Don't lie, because you're making all the other victims less credible when you do that. But I understand these girls, like, they were abused. They are, not all of them are like the most educated people on earth. They're pretty easy to manipulate. That's why they were targeted in the first place. And these assholes online just sit there and go, it was this, wasn't it? Did you see this guy? Did you see this guy? You see this guy? You see that guy? Yeah, maybe I saw Leonardo. And then that's it, because they didn't. So you get that. And the Epstein still alive thing is like the loose change. It's like the people denying airplanes on 9/11. That is not an endorsement of the official story. But what it does is it makes the unofficial story look retarded. And that's what they're doing with Epstein. They are trying to be like, look at his ear. I've heard it all. Like, he's buried next to his parents. You have a corpse. You had 2 autopsies. They definitely need him dead. There's no way they're going to sneak him out. Like, why arrest him in the first place? Just don't even arrest him if you're going to do that. They did not break into jail and get him out and put some other body in there, or have get all the EMTs and all the. You'd have to have all these people in on it faking stuff. It's dumb. They murdered him for sure. But what's funny is more people think he's still alive than think he killed himself, which is great.
There is an increasing
that makes more sense than him killing himself. Honestly, like that is the dumbest thing ever.
So Jane wants to know, is it possible that Wexner was made to give unlimited funds to Epstein due to the success he was having with the elites?
No, that's not what was going on. They had these, he set them up with Gratz. He did the same thing for Leon Black as guarantor remunerated, well, I have to look. I'm going to look it up because I'm going to mess it up. But one thing that he would do for Wexner is Epstein had like half of U.S. Virgin Islands on his payroll. They would give him U.S. visas and things for the girls and stuff. And Cecil DeYoung, as I mentioned, $200,000 salary. There's still an ongoing case with Stacey Plaskett, by the way. That has not gone away, and it does include co-conspirators. That is something we could jump on. She's the U.S. Virgin Islands representative to the United States. They're not a state, but they get like a representative as an unincorporated territory, or whatever. What he would do is he got himself $300 million in tax breaks using this odd economic development fund they had in the Virgin Islands, where if you had at least 10 employees and you spent $100,000 in the U.S. Virgin Islands, you could get up to a 90% tax break. He ended up about 96%. So all he had to do is take money from his Southern Trust or whatever from Wexner, move it there, and avoid taxes. Now, if you're a billionaire like Les Wexner, you're saving. If Epstein saved $300 million, how much did Wexner save? A lot more than that. And then what Wexner would do is, instead of paying him, he'd gift him a house, which he did twice. He basically gave him a house in New York. And another thing he did is he and Epstein basically built a small village in New Albany, Ohio. And Wexner bought a house there and then sold it back, or not Wexner, Epstein bought a house there and then sold it back to Wexner Foundation for double the price almost immediately. So it's like you buy a house and they sell it for twice as much as what you bought it for, which is a way that Wexner's paying you without paying you. And this is the kind of crap they were doing over and over again. That's why you see all these really lavish gifts from Les Wexner. Like, why would you give him a mansion? Why would you do this? Why would you do that? It was like, because he's moving his money around in the Virgin Islands. He had power of attorney and all that. So he's like, oh, that's not his money. That's Epstein's money. And Epstein doesn't have to pay taxes. But it's still Wexner's money. And you got to understand, before Epstein was an asset for Israeli intelligence, so Wexner was there first. Wexner and Bronfman were part of that syndicate probably when Epstein was born. I mean, they've been there forever. So they're all moving money around for the Israelis. And like, I'm not saying it's a front, because Victoria's Secret and Bed Bath & Beyond are real companies and they do have revenue and they were making money. But a lot of that money ends up financing organized crime, lobbies, bribes, sick stuff like that. But Epstein has to be the conduit to do the dirty stuff, so that you have a fall guy. Same thing with Bear Stearns. They hired him knowing he would break the regulations, but then they can go, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. We'll fire that asshole and we'll fine him 20 grand or whatever. He didn't care. Like, he lands on his feet, because all these financial institutions hire cutouts to do the stuff that they don't want to do, and then blame it all on them if they get caught. And if they don't get caught, they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And you'll see it all the time. You'll see that with drug companies and stuff too. They will do and just go ahead and pay the lawsuits. They will put out products that harm people and whatever, will pay it off. They do the math and they're like, what are we going to make? How much are we going to lose in lawsuits? I do it over and over again. This is how the world operates. And that's the kind of, I can't really explain it really super fast, but with Wexner, he was laundering his money for him. And it's still Wexner's money. It was kind of like, yeah. But Epstein was living like a Saudi prince. He was living like a magnitude more than money he had on paper, but he was getting very lavish gifts and fees from this billionaire class because he was able to save them so much money. And this is something the Israelis do, is the way they pay assets. You're not going to get it from the equivalent of the treasury. Like, you're not a Mossad agent. You're an asset. So they don't pay you with a salary. They pay you through this money conduit of gifts and housing and tax breaks and that kind of stuff, which aren't awarded to everyone. You got to be on the team, and that they are.
So it was Elon Musk who kind of lit the fire that started to burn the Trump house down with this Epstein files stuff. And the question from Beloved is, do you think Elon is clean?
No, but I leave him alone because he gave me my account back. But, I mean, he's a weird guy. He's got like 14 baby mamas, all like legally. Like, he just doesn't, whatever. He's got the money. He's impregnated all these people, and he wants to colonize Mars and whatever. He's kind of a weird dude, but he got mad about deficit spending. That's why he made Doge and everything and cut off USA. Just the first week of Trump, he was doing okay, and then whatever. But so he's like, I think he's not releasing Epstein because he's on the list. And buddy, that's all it took, man. Like, yeah, because I'm mad. He never really released JFK files. He just re-release things we already had. RFK and MLK no one care about. I do, but no one's even read what's been released there. It's all Epstein. That's the only one they care about. They don't care about all these other billionaires that are kitty fiddling. It's just this one. And it's because such a mystique was built around it because of the manner that he was killed, and QAnon and all. They were very interested in this. And he's Bill Clinton, and it's like, it's celebrities, and it's a big deal. This is the one they care about, and he cannot make it go away. He's like, are you still talking about that guy? I'm like, buddy, they're going to talk about Epstein forever, like they did JFK for at least 30 years. It was, do you know who was on the grassy knoll? It's never going away because this is the biggest story. I mean, you got an international PDF ring, I use the term, with, princes, prime ministers, but that's not going to go away. It doesn't matter what you do. I mean, you can temporarily make it go away by starting a war with Iran or something, but they're not going to drop it. He doesn't get it. Like, why are you still talking about him? Like, why not? They'd kind of given up hope with Biden. Like, at least with Trump, some of them think he might do something, and they expect that out of him, which you should. You should have expected it out of Biden, too. We should be able to expect the President of the United States to go against the criminal PDFers, but the way Biden would sniff hair and the way his son has a whole laptop of sickness, nah, not that family. They bought property in Water Island, by the way, right north of Little St. Jeffreys. There's just sick. The Biden family is all organized crime. They're just irredeemable. Trump, compared to that, is better, but that doesn't make him good. It just means he's better than the worst, which is what we were stuck with. But his base are good people. Like, his fans really, really believed that they trusted the plan, and like he was going to come down. And what would be hilarious is if from all the public pressure about Epstein, that Maxwell does have to give up names to say, to try and get clemency. And so indirectly, Trump does put a lot of these people behind bars. That would be the best. If she just got in there on the 11th and just started going through this, then I'd be happy with that. Even if she got out, or she gets out in 10 years or whatever, if she will go after this syndicate, this could change the world. Like, if you got rid of these Zionist billionaires, their power is gone, and you can't replace that easily. We wouldn't have any more wars. It'd all be over. Like, this fixes everything. It's all up to her. If she could just say who it is, and they really did get arrested, that would be a world-changing event. But there's a lot of pressure on her. Like, you open your mouth, you're dead. We don't care how bad it looks. Oh, we'll see. I mean, this is super exciting. But if he gives her a pardon with no conditions and no names, I don't think it's going to be peaceful in the United States. I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to put up with that at all.
I agree. You're getting asked about Epstein's transhumanism and baby farming.
He had some weird beliefs in cryogenics. He wanted to freeze his brain and penis. You can't do that, by the way. But Robert Miller was into cryogenics too. I mean, he's still alive. I don't know why I say was, but he's got Parkinson's. He's on his way out. But they have these fantasies where he wanted to pass his DNA off to his ballerina types or whatever. He wanted to immortalize himself. They were not stealing eggs or baby farming. That is just hook'em. But he definitely believed in some weird stuff and wanted to impregnate a bunch of young girls.
Thanks for the super chat, David Neal. And you're getting asked about the royal family.
I know him.
Think they will...
He's from the Outer Banks.
Do you think the monarchy will last with all of the controversy?
Yeah, they'll survive it. And honestly, as much as I don't like monarchies, what Andrew did is what Andrew did. You can't really blame them all. So it's never going to be the same, though. They will not have the mystique and respect they used to carry. It's just like, oh, you bunch of PDFers. Like, so we're going to look at them like. I don't. Which one was it that did the? Well, I'm not going to pick on them. I had some. I won't.
Don't these people know that they will eventually get blackmailed by those folks? They are so pompous and arrogant. Yeah, how do they fall into these traps so easily?
They don't care. They're into PDFing, and probably Prince Andrew's friends didn't know when they're invited to parties and they get ensnared. Accidentally, or you get a 16, 17-year-old with a bunch of makeup and there's alcohol and they screw up and that's the end of their life. But a lot of these decadent, elitist princes and stuff, they're bored and they live off other people's money and the real welfare queens. And they enjoy, plugging the peasants, as they say. And, a lot of the French elitists, same way. Same thing they did with Bernal and stuff. They like plugging hoes. The person I'm talking about knows I'm talking about him right now, by the way. These little... I don't want to give any hints, but there's a lot of people still out and about that are on that client list or on Bernal's list. There's a lot of overlap between Bernal and Wexner's list too, and I just call it Wexner's list because that's what it is. But there's a lot of overlap. These people are sick, man. And you think, why would you do that? You're going to be compromised. And I've explained this before. There's different types of blackmail. There's the do it or else kind that everyone's familiar with. Like, if you don't do this, I'll release this tape. But there's also... Well, there's the casting couch time. So if you do this, you get a reward. Like, you don't get you'll get further in your job if you But there's also the insurance policy kind. And I explain that like a gang that says, shoot this guy and prove you're not a cop. Do something that will compromise you in front of the group. And we know you're in and you're in for life. And that's these guys, these people, like, it was a reward to PDF. And they don't mind it because they're into this sick crap. And like, sure, yeah, I'll prove I'm sick in the head. I'm one of you. And so it's not blackmail like they're gonna, and that's the kind, like, if you film it on your property, it's like, okay, you have it, but you can't use it without mutual destruction because you implicated yourself. So it's a way of like having them, but they have you too. And it's kind of like, okay, we're in the club. And you don't get promoted as a politician by this group unless they already have you compromised. It's not that they go after politicians and try and compromise them. That happens, but it's more so the case where they compromise somebody and then they put all their money and push that person into politics because they have them from the start. That was the case with Dennis Hastert. I mean, he'd been essaying little boys since he was a wrestling coach. He ended up becoming the Speaker of the House, the third most powerful person in the world.
Oh my God. You're getting asked about how Trump met Melania?
I think it was at one of his modeling pageant things. I don't remember. He was into that stuff. Trump was lecherous. He cheated on all his wives. He loved that. You see, you got to think in the 80s, 90s, supermodels were the pinnacle of like the best girl or whatever it is. It was supermodel, Sports Illustrated, Victoria's Secret, whatever. That was the creme de la creme. And Trump would go to these Miss Universe, Miss whatever, Miss Moscow, Miss what something, and all these pageants and stuff, and flirt with models and cheerleaders and whatever. And I believe he met Melania at one of these parties.
Okay. We're almost at 90 minutes, Ryan. How are you feeling right now with your eyes?
I'll do about 10 more minutes. We get some questions. I'm going to try these.
All right. What, it seems like the Comeys appear everywhere, Ryan, whether it's the Diddy case, the Epstein case. Yeah. Are they just brought in when a case has to be processed? Are they just brought in to manipulate the outcome?
They're there for damage control, which is, I guess, manipulating the outcome as well. But it's damage control. So they're like, oh, look, but they don't get along. Like, no, man, they're all in the same clique. They protected Hunter Biden too. They're like, oh, but they're opposites. No, man, the right and left are two wings of the same bird. You saw that with Eric Holder and Robert Mueller, and it didn't matter. Like, these people aren't serious.
I just want to remind people as well, we've got almost 2,000 watching live across all platforms. Ryan's X and Ryan's store, those links are in the description box, but I've also just put them in the live chat. And our walls are regaled with the Epstein maps, the Biden crime family maps. So I would urge people to decorate their homes thusly. What's your view on Maureen Comey being fired?
Yeah, it's almost like petty Trump revenge, because he's like, you guys are fake news. You did all these fake cases against me and Russiagate and na. But it's a little odd of like, hey, this person oversaw Maxwell's case and you're just getting rid of her. Like, you need to explain why. You can't just do that and let the public start inventing reasons. You need to say, and he doesn't, he's not making the best moves, because that sure does look bad. It looks like, oh, you're on the list and you want to get rid of your political enemies. That's what it looks like.
Pearl is glad that your eyesight is recovering, but do you think there was anything suspicious about you getting that?
It is like a 0.02% chance of getting it. Although the doctor said more people recently have been getting this condition. Like, people get this, but they get it when they're like 60 or 70, not in their 40s. But I think with my almost complete lack of sleep, that probably contributed to it. I did have an early accident with my eye when I was 10 years old. I had a piece of asphalt shot through my eye. So I don't know how that's related or not, but it's always been kind of like in a weakened state. But I do wonder sometimes, like, even when I get sick, I'm like, am I having poison or something like that? Those thoughts go through my head because I've already been canceled and everything. And I'm like, why would they do this? But now I think I'm just unlucky. And because I have a twin brother, he doesn't have any of these problems. We're genetically the same, but I think it's the lack of sleep was a lot of it. And so I'm being much better about not staying up all night and all day. It's something I had to burn the candle at both ends because I was canceled. I had to work 20-hour days all the time to take care of my family. And it's cumulative and it catches up with you, and you end up with a bunch of ailments when you're still young. And I have them. I have a problem with my eye. I got problems. I got health problems because I didn't sleep enough. But if I hadn't worked, we wouldn't have made it. You know, and it would have been so easy if I was just allowed on PayPal or allowed on Patreon, or if I had a YouTube, things would be fine. In fact, I'd be extremely wealthy. But I was kicked off everything. So I had to work all the time and, you know, get BS from everybody and have my work stolen by other people. And this is the life I've had to live. And it's disgusting because, like, I'm the guy going against PDFers, against war, against all these horrible things. And what do I get in return? I get canceled on everything. And that's probably contributed to it. But I don't think somebody Havana syndrome me or anything like that. I think it's just part of bad sleeping patterns. I eat right, exercise, do all that, but I used to not sleep for real. And you can see the dark circles under my eyes are perpetual. Like I just never get to sleep because I was always working. So yeah, I'd be a father in the day, and then at night I would work. You know, like I gotta work. I also gotta, you know, give them my attention, and I sacrifice my health for it. So it's on me too.
You've got a few people have asked about whether this threat to arrest Obama for Russian Gate is just a sideshow distraction to take the heat away from the Epstein fire.
They're not going to arrest Obama. I think Trump's serious about expressing his anger because, look, Russiagate was absolute crap, and they are guilty. But they're not going to arrest Obama. They just won't. He's too connected. And how come you didn't do this right when you became president again, or when you were president before? Just, you know, the timing looks really bad, and it looks like a diversion. Why don't you talk about this? Said Epstein, like, buddy, it doesn't matter. You could do Russiagate. You could go after Hunter. You could have it. Nothing is going to bump Epstein out of the news cycle other than a war. And even that, it would be back in the cycle when the war was done. They're never going to let that go. But when people say it's only a distraction, like it is being used as a distraction, but that doesn't mean it's not true. They did create this Russia hoax crap, and they should pay a price for it. They're not going to, but they should. And it's something like, yeah, you're right. They absolutely made this up, and they all lied about Hunter's laptop too. 51 intelligence officers, like, it was a conspiracy. They absolutely lied. There should be consequences. But we all know the only reason you're bringing this up is to divert the attention away from Jeffrey Epstein. We all know it.
IB wants to know, why are there so many pictures of Trump and little girls? Is that because of all the beauty pageants that he did?
So beauty pageants, is some of them are of his own daughters. And so they're like, oh, who's that? Like, Ivanka. Like, that's his kid. So it's not a big deal. And some of it's AI. So and that's what really bothers me now is you can fake anything with AI nowadays. And it's like you're going to be able to incriminate people, and they're also going to be able to go, oh, that ain't me, that's AI. You're going to be able to say that. It's indistinguishable already. Like sometimes they put too many fingers, or people have extra long limbs and they mess up, but it's going to get to the point where you can't tell the difference. And I've seen just about every Epstein picture there is since from like 2007 and now. And I know like when there's a picture and then somebody's been added to it or whatever, because I've seen the original one and I remember it. But how is someone going to archive all this later? It's going to be impossible. And the more people that are out there faking and doing better jobs of it, we're entering a zone where you will not be able to tell what's real. Even video, you can fake whole videos now too. So we only have this short time before the AI takeover to really prosecute these people, because they'll put out fake things of themselves and then go, oh, look, it was fake. See, it was made right here. And you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to, you can already do it, I think, but it'll be like anybody with a PC will be able to do it. And it's bad. And a lot of these memes, like, yeah, there's kids or he's at a pageant, and a lot of it's fake. I see some of the same like 3 pictures over and over again where he's got them in their lap. And I'm like, look, Trump has 6 fingers. It's such a bad fake. Count them, you know. Or Epstein's body just disappears into a couch and he has no legs. Like, come on, those are terrible. And it's like, don't do that, because there are real photographs and video of them together. So you don't have to make this up. So why would you make it up? Because when you make fake ones, it discredits the real ones. It's the loose changing of an issue. That's what they're doing.
Do you think Trump was threatened? Do you think Trump was threatened, or his family have been threatened, and that's why he's done an about turn on Epstein files?
He nearly had his head blown off. I don't think. I think Netanyahu came down and told him no, and so he's complying. I mean, his friendship with Netanyahu is far worse than Epstein. They're starving children to death, and he knows it. He's like, "Meh, Hamas." That's the friendship I'd worry about. I don't need the Epstein stuff. Like, he's already buddies with Satan. And one thing I'll say for people pissed about the PDFing: don't ever shop at anything from Les Wexner. Do not buy Victoria's Secret. Do not buy anything from LL Brands. Do not get Bed Bath & Beyond. Do not buy Seagram's liquor from the Bronfman family. They're a bunch of crooks anyway. If you're going to drink liquor, just don't do that one. If you're going to buy underwear, just don't go there. You have to boycott these people, hit them in the wallet. Nobody should be buying anything that Wexner owns, at minimal. It's not even asking you to do something. It's just asking you to not do something. Like, don't spend your money on those places. And keep an eye on the Stacey Plaskett case. There has to be a lot of public pressure to not throw this out. Now, they said in March of this year that this would go through and there would be a trial. So that, and along with Maxwell and the 11th, those are the biggest things going in the PDF case for Epstein. Those are the 2 things.
All right.
I
Well
don't have
said,
a
brother.
YouTube. Someone said they just subscribed. It's just fans account. I'm not allowed on YouTube.
He's banned.
Yeah, I'm banned on everything. It's just somebody pretending to be me or something. But I do have a Substack, ryandawson.org, and I do have a Twitter that's at Right Liberty. It's on the screen. I appreciate it. You can it's free. Like, you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Substack. I would deeply appreciate that. And Shaun's got a link for the store if you want to get a map or shirt or just throw some support our way. You can go buy something from the store.
Yep, link is in the live chat right now, folks. I would highly recommend stuff from the store. We've got loads of it here. Well said, brother. Thank you for coming on, especially, with your health situation, recovering. You take care, my friend. I'm going to close the show and let you go and get some rest. Cheers, Ryan.
Thank you very much. Always, Shaun. You were there from the beginning, so I appreciate it. And maybe I'll get out to your neck of the woods next year, I think.
Our house is your house, brother. Let us know.
Thanks,
Cheers.
man. Next to the Viking graveyard, yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, folks, please support Ryan at his links. And I'm going to show you a trailer next as well. We've got a video tomorrow about who is Ghislaine Maxwell. It's talking about transhumanism, baby farming. It's coming out 2.5 hours tomorrow at 9 a.m. UK. I'm going to show you the trailer in a minute. I just want to finish these super chats, though. Why freestyle life? Growing up, my mum and dad had friends that were PDF files and they did not care. My mother, French, elitish, evil, 1% do not care, and they are mostly weirdos. Indeed, there's a thing called elite deviants. They got all the money in the world, they got all the power in the world. How can they get their rocks off? Vampirically stealing the energy of kids. Do you think we live in a time when people finally stand up against the evil elite? Will anything change in the world unless these PDF files get consequences? Well, we thought they were going to get consequences, didn't we, with the current administration in America, the heads of the Justice, FBI, etc. And we have seen in recent weeks that they are completely controlled by the elites. So there's not going to be any justice there. It's going to be an even bigger slap in the face to the survivors if Maxwell gets pardoned or gets a huge sentence reduction. All right, folks. So this is the podcast we've got coming out at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Who is Ghislaine Maxwell? From Prince Andrew to Epstein's baby farms. 2.5 hours long. I'm going to show you the trailer now. Link is in the description box if you want to set your notifications. And there's links down there as well to various other Epstein-related podcasts we have done.
But the Maxwell dynasty is way more fascinating and way darker. A fairy story in reverse, in which the beautiful princess starts out as a beautiful princess and she ends up in a kind of dungeon. Her problem was that because of her upbringing under her father, she didn't have a moral compass. Other people, it doesn't matter about other people, you can them. If I go to the toilet and use a cloth towel, I can just leave it there because the other person who's got to pick it up, they don't matter. And if that is your upbringing, then where's the moral compass that says don't do this? But what Epstein would have been very good at would have been to have turned this into a joke, turned this into a game. Also, there's something else that's going on, which I touch on briefly, that he was a transhumanist. Transhumanism believes that humanity is evolving into a higher state, and it's obsessed with the brain, and how essentially, you know, that there are people who are going to be uber brainy who exist on a higher plane. And there's been some reporting that Epstein wanted to impregnate lots and lots of women with his sperm because he was some kind of Superman. Now, this is Nazi stuff in my book. It's gibberish. It's not anything like proper science whatsoever. It's a load of Nazi plain English, and I hate it. And it's very, very creepy. Number one, if Epstein is a superhuman, well, what about the other people? What about the poor girls he's preying on? Looking at Prince Andrew cannot explain the picture of him with his arm around Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Shot, story goes, by Jeffrey Epstein in Ghislaine Maxwell's flat. Prince Andrew can't explain that. Now, I used to work for Newsnight, and I thought Emily Maitlis's interview with Prince Andrew was an extraordinarily brilliant piece of journalism. And Prince Andrew reminded me of a freshly slaughtered cod landing on the fishmonger's slab. He couldn't explain what had happened, and it didn't make sense to me, and I didn't believe him.
Right, I am back, folks, at 6 p.m. in 4 hours with Lionel, explaining all of the possibilities of what lays ahead for Maxwell. So if you've got any legal questions, ex-prosecutor Lionel, 6 p.m. UK, that is in 4 hours from now, we will be live. And I hope you enjoy the podcast tomorrow. Who is